Hey, Cavs fans, welcome to another episode of the Cavs Pick and Roll Podcast, the podcast for diehard Cavs fans. And Alex, you know what always makes me feel good? Cavs W.
Cavs win. Yeah. Yeah, what a
And
great game.
it was a nice win, and it was something. Usually, we're recording while the game's going on or finishing up, and we kind of have to record and kind of watch at the same time. And this one ended hours ago, so that's always a good thing to enjoy. 5 o'clock start time against the Indiana Pacers on a Sunday evening. Take it, man.
Yeah. I mean, I missed most of it, I have to admit. I was watching a movie with the family, and I didn't get to see most of it. But, I was checking out the highlights and box score, and it looked like a pretty dominant Cavs win. We started out the first half hot and continued on all the way to the end of the game and never let off the gas pedal. All our starters were in double digits. It was really great to see.
Yeah, the Cavs did what they were supposed to do tonight, which is even though you're on the road, go into a team's building that's, not a very good ball club this year and take care of business. And they got out quick on them and they never looked back. Indiana never had a chance to get back in the game, at least never felt that way. And I saw a lot of people online saying this, like on Twitter and stuff, and I agree. Again, it's Indiana, and that's fine, but it just felt like one of the most complete wins of the season where just like everything was clicking. And you could see it in, like you said, in the box score. All of our starters were in double digits. The lowest scoring person was Mobley at 17. Okoro had his best game of the season so far, offensive wise, with 20 points. He was getting a lot of praise online. Jared Allen, 18, 13 rebounds, just dominated. Garland, 24 points. And Mitchell, although didn't look completely like himself, we'll get into why maybe that'll be here in a little bit, but gave you 19 points as well. And, when all five starters are doing that, Alex, the team's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, Mitchell still a little shaken up from that nut shot, right?
Hey, we'll get there.
But I mean, he didn't shoot very well in that Grizzlies game, and he didn't shoot very well in this Pacers game. So maybe he's in just a little bit of a slump.
Yeah, maybe. But you know what else was impressive? There was no LeVert this game, and there was no Kevin Love this game. Two prime trading targets, Alex, potentially.
That's true. I mean, the rumor is always that we're looking to shop LeVert, but yeah, I mean, you can't dismiss the trade of Love, right? He's a $30 million expiring contract. There's got to be some team out there that's tanking and looking to make some cap space in the offseason, and Love would be a prime candidate for that.
Yeah. I think again, I think his thumb is just jacked up still, and they said, wait a second, Dean Wade just came back, like almost 2 weeks ago now. Let's just play him 30 minutes a game, and let's just let Love finally kind of heal up here. Maybe even all the way up to the All-Star break, depending on how serious it is. Yeah. LeVert's a little bit more, kind of just recent. I think he missed the previous game too, or he didn't play as many minutes. But it's just funny seeing like Twitter go crazy when that kind of stuff happens. It's like, oh, a trade it's going to happen tonight. And that's why they're sitting him, and just like, whatever.
I mean, that is a sign, right? Like,
I guess
somebody's on the trading block. And they're in negotiations behind the scenes. You sit a player.
Cavs fans don't want him, but for some reason think every other team does. It's funny how that works, right? Like, get him out of here. But yeah, every other team is going to be lining up to get him. So.
I'd rather just hold on to him. There's nobody we're going to get that's going to be better or even as good, in my opinion.
Well, we'll get into the trade talk here in a little bit. But again, this was an impressive win. It's on the road where this team has been kind of helter-skelter. You never really know what you're going to get. And it was just a dominating win. And, I want to call out Evan Mobley, who was matched up against Miles Turner. Miles Turner, he's been around for a while. Nice center. Kind of rotting away at this point in his career in Indiana, though, unfortunately. But Mobley handled him. I mean, he couldn't Turner couldn't do anything to stop Mobley. And Mobley has quietly but consistently I feel like been making strides. He's not having. He had that one game against the Bucks, where he dropped 38. It's not like all of a sudden he's going on for 30 every night, but it feels
Mhm.
like more lately on a consistent basis he's been able to make an impact, and it feels like more people are taking notice as well. I just see more chatter about him online, from fans and just from a national standpoint, analysts and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
tonight was another nice display against the quality center in Miles Turner.
Yeah, like you said, consistency, and that's key with Mobley, being a big man and just being able to defend the interior.
Yep.
And he had 17 points against the Pacers, 10 rebounds, I think.
Yep.
And
10
then,
rebounds, double double.
yeah, and then in the game previous against the Grizzlies, 17 points, 14 rebounds.
Yep.
And yeah, that's what you want to see from him is consistency. And he's been stepping up quietly getting it done on offense and defense.
Yep.
Could have been
Yeah,
an
he should be
all-star.
he should be a double double machine, right?
Right.
Points and rebounds, and he does some other nice things and just makes an impact on the game. That's all we can ask for him, and he'll continue to grow. And he's still very very young, only in his second season, so sky's the limit still when it comes to Evan Mobley. Um, but the next guy I wanted to call out was Okoro, who we've talked about a little bit more lately here in the last couple episodes. He's taken advantage of we started the season with Levert in the starting lineup, and then a little while now Okoro's been kind of slid back into that position, and we're seeing him budding before our eyes. And I've even seen some people say, "Hey, we don't need to trade for a 3 and D guy. Okoro could be that guy." And he has been shooting better. I think I saw he was 3 for 3, 3 pointers tonight, Alex. And man, 20 points in 29 minutes, out there running around like a fool, playing defense and stuff. High energy guy.
Right.
What more can you ask for him? If he can keep this up, and make an impact like this, I think this is all what Cavs fans have been waiting for him to make that leap. And
Absolutely.
perhaps we're
Yeah.
witnessing that.
Yeah. I mean, he's another player that's just young and it's finally he's starting to find his fit, I feel like, and he's starting to like just break out of his shell a little bit. And it's good to see. It's great to see that he got 20 points in this last game and he had like I think 12 in the previous game. So it's good to see him like find his place and see how he can impact the game. Typically, he's your defensive specialist, but it's nice to
Right.
see him also scoring on the offensive end. And he's just so athletic and explosive, man. You see him get these like dunks, these two-hand jams, and these tomahawk dunks over, the other team centers, and it's like, man, this guy's
He's got
like,
that body, man. He's
he's
got that
got it.
NBA body. He's got the
Yeah,
build.
he's got the
He's
speed, he's got the
got
strength.
athleticism. Yep.
Yeah,
He's
and he
got to
can.
develop a little bit of an offensive game, and
He's got
he's
hops.
starting to do that. Yeah,
I'd
I
love
would
to
have loved
see
to
him in
see
the
him
dunk
dunk
contest.
contest. That's right. That's right. That's right, man. Hell yeah! But you know who else? You probably missed this, and I don't know if you saw it as a highlight. But who had? I'll say maybe the dunk of the night was Jared Allen. There was a block on the one end, and Jared Allen just started sprinting the other way, and they hit him with the pass, and he just had this sweet one hand pump, like something you would see from like I don't know, like a Dominique Wilkins or like just like an old. It just looked like old school dunk. You don't see that anymore. The one handed kind of just pump it, and man, it was awesome. And Twitter just lit up when that happened. And it just kind of just everything was clicking tonight. You got a Okoro hitting threes. You got Mobley manhandling Turner. You got Jared Allen, saying, "Hey, put me in the dunk contest," and just everything was just clicking tonight. And the Pacers couldn't do nothing about it. And it was just a good, solid, feel good win on a Sunday night. And you still got time to enjoy the rest of your night after that Cavs victory was the best part about it.
Yeah, I was surprised it was such an early game. I saw the notification on my phone and I was like, dang. We had just started watching
Yeah,
a movie with
it's
the
tough.
family and I was like, I was
It's
thinking
tough
the
when you
game
got
would
a
be at
family.
7 or 8, but
Yeah. When you got kids and a family and stuff, it is kind of a tough time. But every once in a while, when they sprinkle that in there, like I like the 3 o'clock games too, which is also sometimes tough. But it just switches things up a little bit. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I,
So
I wish I could
it's cool.
DVR the games like I used to be able to.
Yeah, no kidding, man. No kidding.
That's all we'll say about that.
Yeah. So the Cavs moved to 33 and 22. But let's talk about the game prior to this. This one had some fun things to talk about. So this was a nationally televised game. TNT was able to watch it, Alex, legally for once, which was kind of nice, and no buffering and all that
You
stuff. We
telling
did
me
have
I
Reggie.
was streaming this game for nothing?
Oh man, come
Dang
on.
it.
Well, I'll say this: you might have still had a better. I don't know. We had Reggie Miller to listen to, so
Oh,
which isn't always welcome. But the Memphis Grizzlies were in town, and I'll be honest, Alex, this game made me a little bit nervous. We lost against Memphis last time, and just I don't know what it is. It just feels like, one guy can potentially beat this team because, again, they've been so up and down. You never know what you're going to get. And, John Morant, budding superstar in the league, comes into town, nationally televised game. He's going to want to show out. And, yeah, I was a little nervous about this game as a result.
yeah. Like you said, Love didn't play in this game, so John Morant didn't, have anybody to try to dunk on, I guess.
I guess not. I guess not. Um, but yeah, it kind of had a playoff like atmosphere to it because again, it's just two young up and coming teams. I'll say this about the Grizzlies, like again, I don't watch much basketball these days outside of the Cavs just because of timing and stuff. I look at the roster and it's a lot of people I don't like. I don't know. There's a young
I
team and like
agree.
there's nobody
Yeah.
that jumps out at me, and I'm like, I look at the standings and they're number 2 in the West, and I'm like, I know like the East is dominant these days. It's not how it was, the last 20 years prior where the West dominance, but I'm just like, man, like the Nuggets are number 1, the Grizzlies number 2. It's just like I don't see how. I just don't see it.
I think they're really well coached. That's my opinion on watching them.
Yes.
Like
I
it's
guess.
like a ragtag group of young guys. Like I don't know a lot of the names on that team, but they play
Yeah.
really well together, and they just seem to be really well coached.
Yeah. Well, they were in a little bit of a skid themselves. So were the Cavs. So both teams were looking to break, kind of their losing streak or whatever. And luckily, the Cavs were able to take care of business. This game was close at times, but really, we're going to talk about what everybody remembers from this game the most before we go into like stats and all that stuff. But where things got a little bit chippy, Alex, you wanna recap what happened there for those in case they missed it?
Yeah, I just saw. I mean, I watched it quite a few times. The replay of Dylan Brooks hitting the floor, and Mitchell's kind of standing behind him, about to
Mm-hmm.
catch the ball as it bounces, and you see him like laying down, face down on the floor, and he looks back to his left, and he sees Mitchell, and he rolls to his left and throws his arm up and hits Mitchell right in the groin area.
Yep.
And Mitchell, who had just caught the ball, throws it at Brooks as he falls backwards from the hit, and then immediately jumps up as Dylan Brooks is getting up and gives him a shove, and then they both kind of go at each other, and that's it, man. It was
Yeah, yeah. Then
bad
all
blood.
the players, the pile of players comes on,
Yeah,
and you know what I thought was interesting. Well, one first and foremost, good for Mitchell. I mean, what the hell, man? Like, but sometimes it feels like superstar players kind of don't want to get in there and kind of mix it up a little bit. But Mitchell did not hesitate. He got right up in there, kind of locked up with him a little bit. And I think he even caught Brooks off guard a little bit, to be honest with you, because again, I just, you know, um, players maybe don't always expect that, right?
right.
What was interesting to me, and like it was kind of like an oh crap moment, was that kind of spilled into what looked like the first row of the crowd right behind the hoop there, and man, it just things could have got potentially a little bit ugly, and luckily it didn't.
Yeah,
But
it
man,
did look like it kind of spilled into the
it
almost
did,
like into that first row a little bit,
yeah,
because Dylan went to almost kind of tackle Mitchell after he threw the ball at him, and Mitchell pretty much just grabbed him and
He
threw
caught him. He
him
caught
back
it.
down. He
He
like
threw him
caught him
back
and
down.
tossed
Yeah.
him. Yeah. And then as
He took
Mitchell
him
was
down.
getting up the second time, somebody from the Grizzlies, or sorry, Memphis's staff, like tackled,
Crap. Yeah.
grabbed him and kind of tackled him and put him back on the floor. Yeah, it
Right.
was a pretty funny altercation. I watched it quite a few times. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it was. And what ended up happening as a result of that was uh, Reggie Miller acted a fool. Was saying, he didn't think it was intentional. They should challenge the play and just, oh man, Twitter lit the hell up after that was
Oh,
going on,
it was
just
so
banging
blatant.
on
Yeah,
Reggie. It
what is
was
he
so
talking
bad.
about?
I don't know.
He should
Just
have.
horrible,
I don't
horrible
know. I
take.
think he had that initial take and then doubled down on it instead of
After you see the
just
replay
saying
like three
sorry, I
times,
got it
like,
wrong.
yeah. How do you stick with that story?
Yeah.
But basically, what ended up happening was both players get ejected. I saw Brooks got suspended for 1 game, and Mitchell got fined for 20K, which is like $20 for you and me, Alex. So I don't think he's too worried about that. And in the post game presser, I mean, Mitchell let him have it. He didn't hold back. He said to be quite honest or frank with you, whatever he said. He's like, I've been busting his ass for years now.
Yeah.
So he's probably, you know what I mean? Like, so that was good. And then did you see the Bickerstaff quote?
I did. I was just trying to remember exactly how it went.
Yeah, I should have had it up too, but it was something along the lines of our guys aren't the ones that start shit, but our guys are the ones that don't run from shit.
Yeah, that's it.
And man, that just chills, man. It's just, oh man, you needed we needed that to happen earlier in the season, man. Get these guys, man, just flip that switch. And I will say this: when all that happened, the game was close. It was only a 5-point game. So I'm like, okay, this moment right here is going to determine the game, how one of these two teams is going to react. It's not going to be a back and forth anymore. And I was like, all right, Caps, don't mess this up. Like, Garland, we're going to talk about this, but Garland just got snubbed at the beginning of that game by not making the All-Star game. Mitchell gets hit in the nuts, gets ejected from the game. You're at home. You're on national TV. There's drama starting to be around your team because you're losing games against teams you shouldn't. Somehow figure out a way to win this freaking ball game, right? And luckily, that's what they did. And they just a spark hit. Chetty came in. He did some nice things, and the team was able to react to that in a positive way and break the game open. They went up double digits and really never looked back. And it was just sweet seeing that. It was nice seeing Morant out there. Just couldn't do nothing at that point. He knew the game was over, but they left him out there. The coach made him play. And man, it was a good win. Just gave you a good feeling after that one.
Yeah.
And just like this Pacers game, man, it's just two solid wins here. And momentum, Alex, is what it's all about now. Can they keep it up?
Yeah. It's always good to have this momentum going, especially going into the All-Star break. Just hope we can keep it going. This is, last season we were really hot going into All-Star break, and then we came out of All-Star break and we just seemed to struggle. Of course, we did have quite a few injuries right after All-Star break, but
that's when everything changed last year.
Couple quality wins, like you said. Love the direction we're going. Love to see these guys step up. Mobley, Osman, Okoro. We got Dwayne Wade back, or not Dwayne. Yeah, not Dwayne Wade.
No!
Dwayne Wade. Oh, we got Dean Wade, Dwayne Wade's little brother.
I'd rather have Dean Wade. I don't want Dwayne back. Much drama.
Yeah, that's right. We got Rubio back. I mean, we got guys healthy. It's pretty great.
Yeah, and what's great is probably the day this comes out, we play the Wizards, which, again, any team can beat any team, and, we're on the road for that game. It's a back-to-back, so you don't know what you're going to get, but that feels like another winnable game. Then you come home, the Pistons come in town, who have beat you a couple times this year, take care of business against them, and, it feels like you got a couple more winnable games here. You got the Pelicans, the Bulls who are struggling. So the Cavs have an opportunity here to potentially go on a nice run. Like, man, it feels like forever since they've rattled off a 4 or 5 game winning streak. And man, this is a great time to potentially try to do that and just build that momentum going into the All-Star break. I think that'd be awesome. As far as getting into just some quick stats around this Grizzlies game, Garland was one of the heroes of the game because obviously when Mitchell went out, Garland stepped up. He kind of already had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, like I said, being not selected for the All Star game and just kind of getting that in his ear up in that game. He finished the game with 33 points, 11 or 32 points, and 11 assists. And then Jared Allen, Mr. Double Double, 18 and 11. Mobley, 17 and 14, like you said a couple minutes ago. And Chetty Osman, man, stepped up, 21 points, helped provide a spark. But my favorite part of that game, it was just kind of the icing on top of the cake for me, was Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio played 21 minutes, finished with 13 points, but he scored 10 of those in the fourth quarter, Alex. The game was like a 12-point game at that point, and it was out of question. Like, they weren't going to come back. But Rubio helped seal the deal. He hit 2 3-pointers. I think he hit a layup and a mid-ranger for his 10 points. And it was the most aggressive he's looked since he's been back, and it's the best he's looked since he's been back. And that was just awesome to see. And again, Twitter was just lighting up on fire. And that game being at home too, it was just Rubio put a little bit of a show on at the end of the game.
Yeah,
and that was my icing on top of the
he
cake.
was killing him at the end of the game, and awesome. Not just that, he was you could see him reading the matchups and he's such a great passer, making plays. He also notched in 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block.
He's a wizard, man. He's fun to watch. He's fun to watch, and it just like that game finally made it click. Like, man, this is what Rubio looked like last year a lot of times, you know. And, man, I hope he can keep it up. He had a solid night tonight, you know, against the Pacers. You know, nothing spectacular, but he's starting to look like himself again. And hopefully that will continue and will only help with this ball club. Like you said, I mean, imagine Rubio doing that. And if K-Love comes back and his thumb's okay again and he gets back to what he was, you know, last season and earlier this season prior to that injury, and then you got LeVert running around there in the second unit with Love and Rubio, like, part of me wants to see that. I want to see what that looks like, man. With Dean Wade and Chetty running on the other ends, man, oh, man. It's going to be pretty fun to watch.
I didn't catch this last game, but 7 points, 9 assists. Wow.
Yeah, him and Garland both were just eating up out there assist-wise. The Pacers couldn't do nothing against them. And that's part of what made us so great last year was, you know, both of those guys can just run the offense so efficiently. And both can score in their own ways. And you put them both out there at the same time. That was always fun as well. Yeah, it's starting to feel a little bit like, man, you know, with Rubio coming back and looking good and getting some other pieces back. And then the pieces that will be coming back in LeVert and Love here hopefully soon. Yeah, I'm just excited to see what this team is going to be when they're, you know, full steam ahead and all that stuff, and hopefully have some momentum.
Speaking of Rubio and coming back, the latest episode of Cavs, The Road Back, was about Ricky Rubio's return.
It was about Rubio's return, man. That was a good one. We want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. It was a good episode. It starts out with the return of Ricky Rubio. It starts out with him actually getting hurt. It shows the
that was
day he
painful
got injured.
to watch again, man.
Yeah, seeing him slip,
painful.
grabbing the knee,
yeah.
Getting helped off the court by teammates, and then just him rehabbing and working out and getting back in game shape, and talking about all the work that he's put into it and how he knew that he wanted to be back in Cleveland. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Even after that, he said, and it kind of, again, it clicked again. I was like, oh, yeah, we traded him. We traded him because he's like, even after the trade, I knew I wanted to be back in Cleveland. You know, it just felt right. And it's like, oh, yeah, we traded you. We pulled the Zydrunas Ilgauskas where we traded you, and then you came back in free agency. And that's how we got LeVert. And, yeah, hey, Pacers, I guess we double dipped on you tonight with the win and dealing you Rubio for LeVert and getting Rubio back. And, yeah. That was a nice reminder, but yeah, it was an episode that wasn't full of highlights per se, like the pump up stuff, but it was a good episode because it was just a feel good episode. And I know because he's one of your favorites, you want to talk about the second part of the episode? One of your
Uh,
all-time.
yeah, Anderson Varejao, right? The man made of glass. He is back in Cleveland, and they talked about him coming. They did like a whole little retirement thing for him. They showed the clip of him giving his speech, uh, a tribute of like a lot of the players that he played with back in the day. There was clips of Big Z and Boobie Gibson and Ira Newble and
They had some good cameos, man.
yeah,
I think this was one of my favorite episodes because of the whole Rubio thing, and then all the cameos. They had Ira Newble, Anthony Parker, Ben Wallace, Deli, Mike Brown. Did you see that?
yeah,
Mike Brown wearing the Boobie Gibson, jersey. They had a lot of cameos on there. Sasa Pavlovich, there's a name you haven't heard in a long
yeah.
time. We need to start calling him out on this podcast. We got to find ways to do that. I was impressed with how many people they were able to get for that, and those were the clips that they showed on the jumbotron the night that he gave his speech. They just worked it into the road back, but it was nice because I didn't see that video when that happened, so it was kind of the first time seeing that, and I was just the hugest smiles on my face seeing some of these players. It's just like, man, how'd you dig some of these guys up?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There were some faces there I hadn't seen in years, that's for sure. So it's
Yeah,
pretty cool to see
definitely.
them back. There was a clip of Big Z hugging Verjao, and they were both looked so
Oh yeah.
young. Big Z had a full head of hair. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh yeah, that's definitely a throwback there.
Yeah, definitely. And it was good, man. It was another kind of feel good with the Andy thing. And, I think it's cool that, again, somebody that embraces Cleveland, not just the Cavs, but embraces Cleveland is, and played here for so many years. And he was a fan favorite. And now he's back with the organization, in a different role. I think it's cool. And I thought that was a pretty good way to give a little bit of a tribute to him because he got pretty good amount of screen time in that episode. It was like 22-minute long episode. Rubio
Hmm.
got the first 6 or 7, and Andy got basically the rest of it almost.
Yeah,
So they did a good job doing a tribute to him. His wife had a very good comments to say. His brother was in there as well, and yeah, it was a good episode, man. They're on season 3, and I was thinking it's getting close to like, man, I want to binge watch all the road back episodes, and I know I've talked about that before, but there's got to be at least anywhere from 15 to 20 of them now, and it's like it's getting close to being binge worthy. Go back and watch them all.
yeah.
So yeah, but that was good timing with Rubio coming back, and then yeah, he kind of had that breakout game against the Grizzlies. So good stuff there. Definitely recommend going to watch it.
Yeah, they didn't show any clips of him playing with the Warriors though.
The Warriors.
I'll never
Who?
forget
Oh,
that.
Andy. Oh,
Yeah,
Andy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Verjao.
I was like,
Yeah,
I thought we were still talking about Rubio. I'm like, he didn't play
remember
with the
we?
Warriors. But
Yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah,
played
yeah,
with the
yeah.
Warriors against us,
I,
man.
I, I did see. I did like Ira
2016
Newbill's
finals.
comment. I did like Ira Newbill's comment because Andy, of course, was on the Warriors. The Cavs did still give Andy a ring, by the way. Don't forget about that. But Ira Newbill had a comment of, even though you weren't on the team, that championship was still yours because you were here from the beginning through all the good and bad years. And Ira Newbill was just like, that championship's just as much as yours as it is everybody else's, basically. So, man, Ira Newbill. Crazy,
Yeah, that
crazy.
is crazy. And then the last few minutes of that episode is showing clips of Mobley and how
Yeah, yeah,
he's
a little
been
bit of love to
progressing
Mobley.
as a player. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a good segue too, because we were just talking about how Mobley's been looking better lately, and not that he ever looked bad, but he just wanted to see on a consistent basis him just making an impact on the game. That's what we want out of him. So all good there. Definitely a good episode. Recommend going to watch it. So let's get back to some relevant recent Cavs news, though. We kind of touched base on it, but the All Star game. The All Star reserves were announced during the beginning, before that Memphis Grizzlies game against the Cavs. And Darius Garland did not make the squad, who I think most Cavs fans would agree felt had probably the best chance. I think we all knew that, Allen's a great player. He's a double double machine, but it's just when it comes to All-Star games, he's not going to be, a name that gets brought up a ton. He snuck in there last year after some injuries happened. And Mobley, good player, but he necessarily didn't take a leap this year, or is really, doing enough to really be seriously in the All-Star conversation. So Garland felt like the guy that had the best chance, averaging 22 points, 8 assists per game, and didn't make it in there, Alex. And do you feel like, what's your reaction to that? Like, do you feel that's a snub? Do you feel like you kind of were already expecting that? Where are you at?
I feel like it. I mean, it's definitely a snub. But the thing about it is, I mean, this All Star voting is a popularity contest, and
But not at the reserve level, though. At the reserve level is different because the fans aren't making an impact there. I'll give you the starters. That's
all right.
yeah, but at the reserve level, that's where I think players can vote. I think coaches vote. It's not fans. I know that. So it feels like there's a little bit more of a equal opportunity, I guess. Drew Holiday made it though. That's the one that bothers me. And I looked up Drew Holiday's numbers. He's had a nice season, 19.7.5 assists. Pretty close to Garland. He's on a team that's a little bit better right now, being on Milwaukee. But that's the name that kind of bothered me. I was like, really, Drew Holiday? I'm like, man, but who knows? Maybe if there's an injury or something like that, who knows? Maybe Garland can still sneak in there somehow. But yeah, kind of disappointed. It would have been cool to be sending, two Cavs players out to Utah for the All-Star game this year.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a snub.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
It is. It is. So let's transition here a little bit. Trade deadline. So the trade deadline is February 9th. It's right around the corner. And I guess let's start with the big news because I want to get your reaction on this before we get into some Cavs news. So it comes out, a day or so ago over this weekend that Kyrie Irving went to the Nets organization and requested a trade.
No, get out of here.
Of course, Twitter loses its mind, and yeah, it's a lot of that reaction, right? But here's what's interesting is, a lot of people react that way. But then what came out, what I saw like yesterday, and this will be crazy if this is true, and I don't really have any reason to believe it wouldn't be, but Kyrie was up for a contract extension, and the Nets were trying to supposedly work in some piece into his contract that revolved around him needing to win a championship or something like that.
Whoa.
And like, I don't know what the details of that were because that hasn't been leaked yet. But like, I wonder if it was like, okay, we'll give you a long-term contract, like a 5-year deal if you contribute to winning a championship this year. And if you don't, well, then we're gonna, go a shorter. Like, I can't even imagine what it would have been.
Right.
And if that's true, I could see Kyrie's camp being like, "Get the hell out of here," you know what I mean,
right.
and be like, "I'm done."
Yeah.
But if that isn't the case, or it's still crazy.
That's unreasonable.
But man,
yeah,
it's just Kyrie cannot escape drama. And I was telling my wife, I was like, he just needs to retire. I don't think he's ever going to be happy playing basketball. And he ended up out in Dallas, and we'll talk about that here in a second. That certainly isn't going to be the last jersey he's going to wear. And Kyrie Irving's too good of a player to wear by the end of his NBA career 6, 7, 8 NBA jerseys. Please don't do that to us. Please don't do that. Just, I don't know.
It's already happening.
Just be done with it if you're not going to be happy ever again. But yeah, man, the Nets ended up within 48 hours, found a deal. And of course, the speculation was he was going to go rejoin LeBron out in LA, right? And that can still technically happen. He's a free agent, Alex, at the end of this year. Wouldn't that be something if he just leaves and bolts Dallas? Goes joins LeBron.
I saw the comments from Tristan Thompson. Let's run it back.
Oh, God.
Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
Tristan Thompson's his tweets after.
Where's he even at? Where's he at?
Isn't he in Houston? Is he in Houston or Chicago?
Well, he's rotting away with Kevin Porter Jr. then.
I don't. Yeah, I can't remember.
And the worst team in the league. Got to figure this out now.
Yeah,
Where the hell is
you got to look that
Thompson?
up.
I'm looking.
That's
Hang on.
interesting that he went to the Mavericks, though. That means he's gonna be paired up with Luka.
Yeah, what do you think about that pairing?
That'll be interesting. Uh,
Like, hmm. I feel like Kyrie plays better with. I don't know. He's never really. Let me think about this for a second. So I feel like he plays better with another star player that's a small forward or bigger. And I guess I say that and then I kind of laugh at the same time because, well, he played with LeBron, he played with Jason Tatum, he played with Kevin Durant, and look how all those worked out.
right.
One worked out because he, won a championship, obviously, but they should have been able to do so much more together. But like, I don't know, man. Kyrie and the second, arguably the best player on the team won't be Kyrie, and it'll be a shooting guard in Luka. So it is going to be interesting to see how that works out. Two ball dominant players.
Right.
It didn't work out in Brooklyn, so with Harden and Durant and Kyrie, so it's like I want to sit here and think Luka doesn't have the same kind of ego that those other two had. But at the same time, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I feel like it's a very strange move for the
Dallas.
Mavericks. Yeah, like you already got Luka at point guard. He's only 23 years old. He's making 37 million, and then you make this big trade to get Kyrie Irving, who's a 30-year-old point guard, also making 37 million. It's like what?
Yeah.
What was the point in that? I don't get that.
Tristan
And it
Thompson, by
happened
the
so
way,
quickly. It was
it
so
did
quick.
happen quickly. It did
Yeah.
happen quickly. Tristan Thompson, by the way, is in Chicago,
Ah,
and Chicago, who is trending in the wrong direction this year. We'll see if they even make the play-in game. So, but yeah,
I don't know if Thompson's even been playing for him.
I don't. He's played 23 games so far this season. He's averaging 5 points, almost 5 rebounds per game. So I don't know. He's probably their fourth big off the bench. Would be my guess. But yeah, going back to this Dallas thing. Yeah, I thought it was an interesting move too. And I guess Dallas is kind of getting to that point though, to where Luka's been around how many years? Is this his third year, fourth year? I don't know. It's time to make some leaps here, right? And I feel like they felt that they needed to make some sort of move to show Luka that they're trying,
Mm-hmm.
right? They let Jalen Brunson go, who isn't a household name, but he was serviceable, and they really didn't do anything to replace him in the offseason. They kind of just let him walk to New York, who threw $100 million at him. I'm not saying Dallas should have re-signed him or anything, but I think this is kind of a move in a way to show Luka like, hey, we're serious about winning. We realize you're basically out here yourself, killing yourself, and based on what they shipped out in that deal back to the Nets, they didn't really give up a lot. So this is kind of one of those moves to where it can look like a very smart move if it works out. If the Dallas Mavericks, make the playoffs, make a deep run, and Kyrie re-ups, or it can look like a very bad move when they're a first round exit and Kyrie bolts to LeBron in the offseason. And then if I'm
Right.
Luka, I'm like, what the hell? You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And like any other destination that Kyrie has been, it's popcorn. It's much watch TV to see. Okay, how's this one going to get messed up?
Well, let me ask you
You know what I
this:
mean?
Will do you think the Nets move Durant, or do you think
Well,
that they try to find
the
somebody
most
else to pair with Durant?
that's the most interesting thing. That's what I want to see here is, okay, is the next Woj or Shams tweet going to be Kevin Durant has requested a trade or will they move him? They got about a week here before the trade deadline, a little over a week, or not even. I'm sorry, it's this coming Thursday, so not even a week. But yeah, well, the Nets decide to completely reload, and I think they're going to move on. I
I
think they're going to move him.
And the reason why I asked that is I was getting at was it would have been so much better to let some other team scoop up Kyrie, and then the Mavericks should have took a shot at getting Durant because Durant and Luka together on the same team would have been fire.
Oh yeah, that would have been a much more like kudos, Mark Cuban. That was a good deal to where this Kyrie things. It's just like I don't know if I see that working. And he's a free agent. Is he going to stick around? Like, but yeah, Durant out there with Luka. Like, I could see those. It's Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki all over again
Oh
potentially,
man,
right? Like
right.
that could have worked, right? So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And from a Cavs fan's perspective, I like this because the Nets were starting to figure things out. They're in the 4 spot. They're ahead of us in the playoff seeding, and I feel like this is a great opportunity for the Cavs, even if Durant stays there. Again, and you look at the teams you're playing here, going on a nice 4 or 5 game win streak. Let the Nets get all jacked up over there with that drama and Durant being pissed off, especially if they don't move him. Let them fall down in the standings, and the Cavs, I need them to get that home court advantage for the playoffs. Well, I think we'll just have so much more confidence if they can get that home court advantage,
Oh yeah.
especially with how well they've been playing. So, from a Cavs fan perspective, I love it. Let the chaos open up, and I love that Kyrie went out west. He didn't join like the Bucks or something crazy like that. And if Durant moves, I'm seeing Phoenix. I'm seeing teams like go out west. Come on, get out of here. You know what I mean?
Or the
I want these
Cavs.
guys out of here.
Hey, we got a Kevin Love expiring 30 mil Nets. Don't you want that?
Yeah, yeah. You're supposed to. Do you have trade machine up? You were pitching to
I
me
don't have
Durant
trade
for a
machine.
Garland before we started recording. As everybody turns off what they're listening to, okay, we're done
Yeah,
with that
right.
podcast. Alex, I'll try to save you some grace if you've been drinking tonight. Tell me you got something in that
Man,
cup.
all I've got is some water. But I do have this really
Oh man,
cool. This is the Cavs cup they were giving out at the games around Christmas. I think it was
yeah,
last year
like
or
the
two
ugly
years
sweater,
ago. Yeah, the ugly
like the
sweater
ugly
cup.
sweater view. Yeah, that
Yeah.
does look cool. No alcohol in there, man, and he's pitching Durant for Garland. I don't know, Cass fan.
No.
He said Mitchell can run point. He had it all figured out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You got Rubio back, man. You just have Rubio out there. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that, though. That'll be interesting, and yeah, we'll see if another blockbuster deal goes down. But going back to the Cavs and the trade deadline, I think you and I are still on the same page. Like, I don't see it, and like, there's some names that have been floated out there. This one pisses me off. Cam Reddish. I don't know why my Twitter was filled with Cam Reddish tweets the other day. It's freaking Cam Reddish. It's like, I get it. It's trade season time, and the Cavs, have been kind of up and down, so people get antsy and just, nobody likes to see their team do nothing at the trade deadline because then it feels like, well,
Yeah.
they're not serious about winning, and it's like,
Everybody wants to see you make a move just to make a
make a
move.
move, just make a move. But it's like, it's Cam Reddish, guys. He's not even going to crack the rotation, and my whole feed is covered with that. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And then Josh Hart was another name that popped up. And again, thankfully, I see a lot of people that are smart saying, "What does he do for us? He doesn't fill a void. He's not, going to necessarily. You're going to trade Chetty for Josh Hart. I'd rather keep Chetty around. You know what I mean? So and he's undersized, and
Yeah.
I don't see what he does there. Gary Trent's an interesting name, but now you're getting into that. Okay, well, you're gonna have to give up something to get Gary Trent. You're gonna give up Okoro. You're going to give up Chetty. You're going to give up a guy like that. That's what it's going to take, potentially maybe even a couple of those guys. Everybody just thinks they can give him Levert, and that's the end of it. Give him a Levert in a second rounder, and they're going to send Gary Trent our way. I don't know, man. I don't see it. And the last name that's been out there for a little while now is Timmy Hardaway Jr.
Hmm.
And after the Nets just made this deal, they might want to keep Hardaway around now. Because now they feel like, hey, we can make a serious push, a run here in the playoffs. And again, I go back to what I said earlier, Cavs fans, you want to get rid of Levert because you don't like him. That's fine. You could do that. And you think he's not very good. But then what makes you think other teams, think he's good enough to just, take him on and give you someone like a Hardaway Jr. who is a bucket? You know what I mean? So,
Right.
I don't know. The Cavs have always figured out ways to make under the radar moves over the last several years. It does feel like, like when they traded for Andre Drummond, when they traded for Jared Allen, that wasn't stuff that you heard leaks about. Ricky Rubio and all, like, it just came out of nowhere. right? And I do think the Cavs will do something. I do, but I don't know if it's going to be an impact trade or not, to where you're going to see a household name go out the door, like a Chetty, like an Okoro, someone like that. I don't know. Um, but I could see them maybe trying to bring in a shooter, something like that. And we'll just have to see what happens, Alex. I don't know. I mean, I think, do you want them to do anything? Or are you still, nah, you good? Keep them together.
I think we're good. I'm happy with what we got. All potential in the world. Sky's the limit.
Yeah. I mean, again with especially, I think Rubio plays a big factor in all this. And I'll go back to it just real quick, just to recap why. But if he's back running that second unit and back to himself again, and he's looking out there. Remember last year how great they looked when he had Chetty out there and Love out there and like Dean Wade. Well, he's still got those guys, but now he's got LeVert out there as well, who can score and is a nice piece in that second unit. So you add him to the mix out there as well, and yeah, man, I think they could do some damage. I do.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be upset if they don't do anything either at the same time, I guess is what we're both trying to say.
No,
it's as simple as that.
Yeah. And I trust Kobe Altman's judgment. I mean, if he makes a move, he's done well so far.
Yeah, I still can't think of a trade where he's lost it. Jordan Clarkson is the only one that potentially comes to mind.
Kevin Porter Jr.
Yeah, but circumstances,
right.
And again, Porter. I don't see Porter Jr. at the All-Star game. I don't see him taking that team to the playoffs yet. And no disrespect towards him, he's a nice young player. Yeah, I still wish he was here, but you can't allow what was going on to go on. What kind of example does that show that your 19-year-old player is acting like he's running the place? What example does that set for everybody else that's there and the vets that were there? You just can't have that level of disrespect and not expect what happened to come of it. So. And we moved on, we have Garland, we have Mitchell, we have Mobley, we're good. So yeah, I mean, my money's on Altman, even though he's in a different role now, to continue making the right moves and trades and we'll come out on top as far as winning those trades. So we'll see what happens. And it's always fun around the trade deadline time.
Yep.
So with that, Alex, let's go ahead and wrap up this episode of the Cavs Pick and Roll podcast. I want to thank you, Cavs fans, as always, for tuning in and listening. And Alex, you want to let them know where they can go ahead and follow us and connect with us.
Follow us on Twitter at Cavs Pick and Roll. Shoot us an email, cavspickandroll@gmail.com. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on, what was the other thing? Tumblr. What else you got? Anything else? Oh, Instagram. We got an Instagram account.
Man. Yep. Still posting the Cavs picks, Cavs cards every day. Just posted my first Austin Carr Cavs.
Look at that Austin Carr.
1974, 1975.
Oh, man. That's a vintage classic right there.
I got some other good ones lined up, and I've been having fun doing that every day. So, yeah, definitely check out the Twitter page, Facebook page, Instagram page, posting that stuff daily.
If you're one of our audio listeners, got to check out the YouTube channel. You're seeing all this stuff we're showing off here, all our Cavs gear. I'm wearing my Cavs Championship 2016 hat. Seen better days, but
it's good stuff. All right, Cavs fans, there it is. We will talk to you again soon.
All right. Peace out, Cavs fans.